Welcome, boxing heads. On the agenda tonight, did Ben have an egg static performance? Zhang came in with Joyce again. And of course, we got Canelo Charlo all on Tough Talk Tuesday. Here we go.
This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Figures. Alongside me, left and right hands, Robin, Sakura. How's it going, guys?
What's up?
All right, we got a big show tonight. I mean, we got a lot to talk about. Let's start out before we get into the pay-per-view extravaganza. Let's talk Conor Benn. Did he look excellent, everybody?
No, I'm gonna have to say no, but I got your joke. Ha ha.
I'm not letting it go. You know, I'm really not. I'm never gonna let it go. One, he shouldn't be fighting. I mean, what's your all takes on the fact that he's even in the ring right now?
I believe that it all was able to happen because the ABC had notified the testing organization that and Conor had put in a appeal to them. Okay, that was the decision was overturned. Like they said that it was okay, but then here's the conflict. ABC went ahead and told the states, yeah, he can be approved because he's been out 18 months. And then wait a minute, the BBB of C, which is like the British government entity that we should have, but we don't.
I agree with you there. We need it.
They said, hold on just a minute. We didn't say that we approved him yet. So, and they said they were going to put in an appeal. Eddie Hearns came out and said, yeah, they said they were, but they haven't. And they didn't give us a date on when they were going to do that. Meanwhile, the other organization with the testing is saying, okay, he's clear to fight again. So, you know, the ABC went ahead and went along with that ruling because there wasn't an appeal in. It's basically a technical situation, right? It's a technicality if you think about it, because they hadn't had time. BBB of C is saying they're going to appeal the decision that was made, but they hadn't done it as of yet. So, and they could decide not to. Who knows? But I think that 18 months is, my personal opinion is that 18 months out of the ring was sufficient. I mean, we've got people that we know for sure tested positive for this or that banned substance. They have not been out for even a year. They were given suspensions of maybe 6 months. So, you know, he's been out for over a year and almost 2 years. I mean, literally, it would have been like 3 more months and they would have been 2 years out. So I just don't see why he wouldn't be allowed to come back if he now is testing, negative for everything. Now, as far as that fight was concerned, Lucas, I was able to attend. And what I'm telling you is that he did have they were like, welcome to America. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's your return, fight. And they gave him a really tough game opponent, you know, and he was good and causing kind of some problems with his aggression until he got tired in the later rounds. So that probably is, you know, he wasn't the opponent wasn't landing as much as Conor was cleanly, and you know, it was just the point that by the ending rounds, his opponent had gave out of steam, so he was able to overcome that. And it was a great fight to come back to really get you in shape and to really get you Conor's mind focused and, you know, just back in the game right away. But like, yeah, I feel like, dang, they really gave him a tough opponent for someone to be out for that long.
Well, here's the
Don't
underlying.
you feel though?
Here's the underlying issues with that, though, real quick. The fight was at 154, so that's why it's looking like that, because he comes back after a year, can't make the weight back at 147, and then they put this fight up at 154. So the power may not transcend all that well. Depending upon how he was in camp could have been a little sloppy. So that's one thing that you got to look at under the current politics.
And them
The
eggs
second,
are being scrutinized now. You know, you got to watch the eggs, especially with all this on top of them.
Right. You can't do anything right now.
But the second thing that's odd about the politics in this case is now he's back in the rankings at 147. So he gets tapped for PEDs, gets a year-long suspension, comes back, fights at 154, and he's back in the top 10 at 147.
I mean, he really didn't even get all fully approved. I mean, let's not get it twisted. That's the only reason he probably fought in America to begin with. I'm not sure if he plans to stay fighting in America. I believe as soon as the BBC lifts his ass, he's going to go back and fight in the UK. He only cannot fight in the UK. That's why they shipped that fight here.
Well, he has fought in the US before. But I mean, I think it was just a logistics thing. This was the next match for Matchroom, just happened to be right now, and they had not filed an appeal yet. The other, the drug testing company approved it. They told ABC that they approved it, and so therefore it was allowed. So I think it was more like logistics. But with that 154, I mean, who knows if he goes back to 154? But the power was definitely, there was a difference I could tell in the impact of the power. You know, his opponent was not fazed by those punches. Was it because he's just an extraordinary, type of road warrior opponent? I don't know, because I haven't really, seen that particular boxer before. So I couldn't tell you. But I just say, my thing is, I feel like it's okay because we know of people who have no appeals. They're not trying to say anything. They know they tested positive, and they're not giving anywhere close to that time of a suspension. So, like, why is he giving a way longer suspension than most people? I mean, it just don't make sense to me. I feel, my thing, Lucas, is I'm all about, like, whatever it is, it need to be across the board. You want to make an example out of Conor Benn, but you allow some of these other people to be able to, like, test positive and still have a fight a few days later. Like, this is just not, this ain't kosher. You can't play it like that. So to me, he's been out long enough and he needs to be able to prove himself. It's not like it's a third or fourth time popping or something. This was his first time. And so we have to be able to give fighters a second chance. Put a lot into their careers.
No, I agree to a certain extent, and yes, he has had a longer than some, but that's not saying that the ones before him were actually suspended for the amount of time appropriately. I think a lot of this is just slap on the wrists. You look at Canelo, you look at Dillian White, you look at Miller. All these are just slaps on the wrist, and nothing's ever really done. So, yeah, I mean, he has had it longer than them, but at what point does boxing finally step down and say, look, this shit can't keep happening? I think there needs to be more than suspensions. I think there needs to be proof, and you need to prove that you are legit, which means 24/7 testing. If you don't do it, you don't come back. You don't have a comeback fight. And if you've proven to be guilty and popped badly, you have to do that. That has to come out of your purse. I'm sorry, it sucks, but hey, you popped. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. But what I'm saying to you is that is it's not across the board the amount of suspension time.
Well, I mean,
But it's
boxing's never across the board.
if they shouldn't be, if they should have got more time or not, then it's whether they did or didn't. It's still unfair for you to give someone else almost 2 years when you're giving someone else like not even no time. Like that's just not right. But I mean, yeah, definitely when you're talking about steroid use specifically, that's another added level for me.
Mm.
And so I'm okay with the time that he was given out so far, but I think enough is enough. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. It's a fine line, and like I said, there's never really a direct line or a straight line. Fairness in boxing, it's never going to happen. You know, we have different rules from state to state, let alone country to country. It does get a little bit of a mess. Let's go ahead and talk about the other big fight this weekend, and of course, I'm talking about Zhang KOing Joyce again. Rob, what was your take on that fight, bud?
That was that was bad for Joyce. I feel sorry for Joyce. Zhang is listen. He's a rough heavyweight, but it's like little bigger risk, little reward situation for anybody that would fight that type of an opponent, because he doesn't have any type of fanfare around him whatsoever. None of the top guys have even fought him or haven't have any interest in fighting him. So you take this fight again because you have to, because it was supposed to be quote unquote a tune-up last time, and you just Joyce just proved what he's worth. Unfortunately, he's not a legit contender at the heavyweight. He was a pretender. And I know people get mad when you use that word because he was, he was a good fighter, but really he wasn't. I mean, and this is proving it. I mean, this is proving it, guys. So and I say that lightly because I like the guy. I do. But if you can't get past this guy in a second chance bout when you're supposed to be a legit contender to the throne, then you got no business being out there with that type of level.
I don't know if I can agree with you there. I mean, Zhang is a big dude. He's awkward. Sometimes, matchups, they just got your number. And it just may be how it is with Zhang and Joe Joyce. But we don't really know how good Zhang is yet, Rob. I mean, are you just saying that Zhang's this throwaway fighter then? You're ranking Zhang awful low for somebody who just KO'd Joyce twice. His only loss is a unanimous decision to somebody you probably will never hear of. So.
Right, and it was a bad loss. It was a bad loss for him. And again,
well, I'm talking about Zhang.
Me too. I'm talking about Zhang.
It wasn't that bad.
But it was to a no-name fighter.
Shit happens.
He lost. Well, okay. Let me say this. Let me say this. He did lose to a guy who's in the top 10 rankings. So we just never heard of this guy, of course, for obvious reasons, because he probably doesn't fight in the U.S. But he at least lost to a guy who was or is currently in the top 10.
And he's currently undefeated. He's also just as tall and just as big as Zhang is.
Right. His only other one was a draw against Jerry Forrest, who nobody probably even knows either. But it's this resume. You have Joe Joyce twice, and then anybody's ever even heard of on this entire resume. Nobody.
But however.com, that is the same reason why we now need to give Zhang his credit, because he took a Joe Joyce who does have credible names on his record like Joseph Parker and Dubois, and he actually beat him twice. So it's not like it was a fluke now. It's he knows Joyce's number. And to me, I've always been shocked that Joyce was able to get as far as he has in his career. I was absolutely shocked when he beat Dubois. I was not expecting that. And he clearly did it with a simple 1-2 the entire fight. You guys remember. And then he turned around and beat Joseph Parker in what was a great little scrap. It wasn't like Joseph was, just pity patting around the ring. He was trying to win for a majority of the fight. So I just felt like Zhang has got Joyce's number for number one. Number two, he probably is better than most people think he is, because we're looking at he's from China and he is a southpaw, but also he's a silver medalist. I mean, so is Joyce, but I'm just saying, like, this is somebody with some amateur pedigree. I think that people should pay more attention to Zhang at this point, because he is going to be able to step up and fight some of these other, heavyweights. And if he's young enough that he could run into some of these baby heavyweights, I call them baby heavyweights because they just starting out, like an Anderson. So him and FA could possibly end up getting into it. These are like names that people might think that Zhang wouldn't win these fights, but he's so awkward and he's a southpaw. He has some pedigree. So I think that anything is possible for Zhang. It's not about Joyce losing per se, because he's always been like one of those boxers that's fairly slow and also very, very telegraphic with his punches. So I think it's more about how great or how good is Zhang really. He's proven twice that he can get through Joyce, who has some notable names. So that means that he should at least be given a Joseph Parker or a Daniel Dubois next, in my opinion. If not someone else that I mentioned, previously. But people are going to be trying to figure out Zhang.
So here's the problem with Zhang to me. He's 40 years old. So he better take that Tyson Fury.
You know what? I hate to interrupt you, but I am damn sick of this shit. He's 40 years old, but you said he ain't fought nobody. So it's not like he's a damaged 40 years old. 40 years old does not mean 40 years old from 30 years ago. I am 48 years old.
He doesn't
have like a 48-year-old woman.
He doesn't have what I'm trying to say.
I don't want to say your age, and Rob, I don't want to say your age, but damn it, I know you guys are not your age as far as what we're used to seeing the people in this age group looking like. So why are we now saying, oh, but he's 40 years old? He's 40 years old without any damage.
Because of this.
You can have a 32-year-old boxer who's had plenty of damage and is a lot more tired looking than anything. And I hate to bring it up. God knows I do, because I really love this boxer. But Jose Cepeda, I saw him this weekend. He has had tough fight after tough fight after tough fight. He is not 40 years old, but damn it, he's slowing down and he's looking like he is an older fighter. That happens because you are looking at people with different variations of fight history. He's 40. Yeah. So the hell what? He ain't had no damage.
So the point I'm trying to make, though, is he going to fight for another 5-6 years? No. The likeliness is not. So he better be on these guys' radar right now, because there's a very small window for him to be able to be world heavyweight champion if he wants to be that now, because he probably only has 3 more years in his career at 40. Yes,
I have to disagree with you totally, because who in the top heavyweights is actually fighting each other right now? Not no damn body. So he got plenty of room to get around and do what he wants to do in his career in 5, 6. Oh, he could be 48. It don't matter. Like, he got plenty of time, because nobody else in the heavyweight division that's top 5 is fighting anyone. Where the hell is Wilder? Where's his next coming up fight? Okay, Fury, Tyson Fury. We got who we got? Usyk. He bless his heart. He trying to fight. Nobody want to fight him. Zane can come in and be an opponent for a lot of these guys since they're not fighting each other right now.
And that's fine, but he has a very small window to do it.
It's no smaller than Tyson Fury's. It's no smaller than Wilder's. These guys are not trying to stick around for 5 and 6 more years any damn way.
I'm kind of somewhere between you guys. I mean, yeah, I agree. He hasn't really been, in any tough fights. I think he should be able to still be in here for at least 2 or 3 more years. 40 is it is what it is. I mean, certain people hit 40, they're all right. You look at B-Hop, it is different. Certain people hit 40 and everything shuts down. So we'll see. We'll see. The time is undefeated, that's for sure, but we will see. I want to know, though, is anybody going to want to fight Zhang? I mean, he just beat Joyce not once but twice, and he did it in half the time he did it the last time. It took him 6 rounds the first fight. Now it only took him 3. That's pretty intimidating. I mean, there's people that are decent boxers that have not done well against Joyce, maybe even lost. And here he is dealing with him quickly. So who is a realistic opponent for Zhang coming up in the future?
He right now is ranked right below Anthony Joshua.
I want to see him against Jared Anderson.
And right above, right above Jared Anderson.
Okay.
So I think, one of those 2 fights would be good. Me personally, if I'm Zhang, I'm going for the Joshua fight because of the money. Because of the money, I feel like Jared Anderson and him get there. It's going to be another ESPN main event special. But if he gets something done with Joshua, he can get more money up there and clout.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if Team Joshua goes for a Zhang fight. It's just too many questions there.
A lot of risk.
Yeah, it's a lot of risk and it's a lot of questions there. So I don't think that they would be willing to do that. But I did happen to say, that maybe he should go for one of the guys that's on Joe's record that he beat to see if he's still just some comparison fights, for the fans, because I don't see him getting the AJ fight. Wilder, he gonna destroy anybody but Fury. I mean, so that's why people not getting in the ring with Wilder right now, because he's laid out like 2 people already since being back from those losses with Fury. I just feel like there's plenty of competition out there. It's just whether or not the fights can be made.
Yeah, I don't know. There's definitely fights for Zhang to make, including just rematching his loss. I mean, that's a good fight there to be made too. So,
yeah, absolutely. What do y'all think Joyce should do? I heard Rob kind of inferring that he should just hang it up.
I never said that. Did I say that, Lucas? No, I never said that.
You were saying past tense. That's what they say.
Yeah,
I never said that. No.
Okay, what do you think he should do?
Joyce just needs to take time off and go see what happened, see what's wrong. Period. He needs to take time off, see what happened, and when he gets back in the ring, he needs to jump back into some lesser competition to where he can get his confidence back. Because anytime you lose 2 straight KOs in a row, your confidence is automatically going to be shot.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's a rebuilding for sure.
I just don't know what he thought that he was going to be able to do in 4 months. Like they first fought in April. Now, they fought in the 5th month specifically. I just don't. I don't know what they thought they could do different to deal with Zhang and his awkwardness in the southpaw stance. I didn't understand why they were so quick to take this particular rematch again.
I don't know. Maybe they were just they were wanting to get back, but they thought they saw a hole that they could close and really capitalize against Zhang, I guess, and they thought wrong. They thought very wrong.
I mean, that brings up a good point. I think Spence needs to look at that too. I think after guys lose like that, they do maybe need to look at what went wrong and take more time, because automatically the excuses I'm hearing for the automatic rematches are he got lucky. I was off that night. It was me, not him. No, a lot of times it was him, not you losing to yourself. It was your opponent.
Yeah, I gotta kind of somewhat agree with Jason. I mean, I know what you meant, Rob. You really went like go back, see what's going on, and get back to work, to the drawing board, so to speak. Jason's right too. I mean, some of these fighters really only fight twice a year, and that's true.
And to Jason's point though, it's the elite fighters that we want to see fight more and often. Joyce is not an elite fighter. He needs to take some time to come back.
He's 38 too. I mean, he's nearing in on the 42, and after those two beatdowns, it's harder to take. So we'll see how he looks going forward. But let's talk overall now about the pay-per-view. How excited are you? Have you already pre-ordered it, Rob?
You will, yeah, fight parties and all that is being planned as we speak.
All right. How is the undercard ranking, Sakura? You liking what you're seeing?
Yes, I'm really digging the Lubin fight. Ugas versus Barrios. We're gonna find out if Ugas is the same since receiving that orbital bone injury from Spence. So I'm excited about that. I mean, I like the whole card. What is it, Elijah Garcia? Isn't he on there too?
Yep.
Yeah, like they did a good job with that undercard. I think. I think I'm gonna enjoy it. I might go to the theater and see it because they just announced that you can view it on at AMC theaters. So I might go to the theater and see it on the big screen.
That does kind of sound like a good idea.
This is a better undercard than what we've seen in a while, being as they have Ugas, a name on there, versus a game opponent in Mario Barrios. I mean, he's fought Keith Thurman, he's fought Gervonta Tank Davis. It's interesting to see what he learned from those two fights. I'm pretty sure he's going to be even better in the ring against a guy like Ugas. Ugas is, someone who a year or so ago that was nearing pound for pound level fighter because of the victories he was able to get until, Spence all but killed that. So it is interesting to see him come back and what level he's at. Erickson Lubin versus Jesus Ramos.
Yeah.
This is really a calling out for Ramos because Ramos is the guy in this card, but Lubin is a very game fighter, and he wants to get his status back as a contender again. So that's going to be really the fight that he's probably going to try and steal the show. And then they start off like Shakur said with Elijah Garcia. He has a game opponent in front of him. So this is a lot better of an undercard for PBC than what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, I would say quite a bit better. Definitely not the best undercard, but a huge improvement compared to what we've been seeing within the last few years. Let's go in depth a little bit more with Barrios and Ugas. Do you really think that the orbital bone surgery is the main thing here? That he needs to see if he's able to actually have the vision back. Because Barrios, I mean, he got the one the one thing they both have in common is some recent loss, right? We got Barrios losing to Thurman and Davis, and of course you have Ugas' loss to Spence. Um, how do you guys see this fight going?
I actually just want to know how timid. If the eye injury is something that Ugas is going to be, possibly timid about, getting hit, receiving punches in that area. I want to know how timid he's going to be. I think that his jab is like his best weapon in a fight, and it's also setting up his offense. So, we know what we're going to see as far as his skill level. Like he's going to be using that jab as much as possible. But what I want to know is how he's going to be when Barrios, if he can get on the inside and land something. Now Barrios does have a decent reach, so it's not going to take much. If he can get close, he could be able to land something. So that means that stick got to be out there the entire fight, and he's got to be scoring, some combination punches, Ugas, in order to get this win, because, he's not known for knockout power. And if Barrios did not get knocked completely out by Gervonta Tank Davis, I doubt I doubt if he's gonna, be moved by an Ugas unless he comes back, with some different strength. But right now, it's looking like it won't be by KO. I am impressed, like Rob was saying, with Barrios though, and his performances as he moved up to 147. He showed that he was at the right weight class. It's not like Josito. He reminds me a lot of how they used Josito Lopez for a while, coming in. But Josito always to me looked better at 140 than a 147er. Or a 154. Well, no, catch weight 150. What is that, Lucas? 152.
Yeah.
So he always looked better than me, like at a lower weight. Whereas Barrios, he does look like he actually belongs in that welterweight division.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. I think Ugas is going to be able to keep him at range for most of this fight. That's what Ugas does really well. He controls the distance. And I just don't see Barrios really been able to get in to get off a lot. I see Ugas kind of pulling away with a somewhat boring unanimous decision. You guys seeing the same?
No, Ugas
No?
is in a tough spot.
Okay.
He's in a very tough spot with this one because he loses, people are going to say he's done. And Barrios, because he has the two losses, people are kind of putting him. That's why he's the underdog in this fight, and people are putting him as the underdog. When reality sets in, those two losses can be his game because he lost to two fighters that are at experience at an elite level. So he's more prepared for a Ugas style fight with Ugas coming in here because Ugas is used to being the headliner. He's used to being the main event draw in this type of a fight. So Ugas is in a very tough spot because he might, in his heart, have a lot that he wants to show, but due to the layoffs, the injuries, the past fights, he just might not yet be there. It might take him a little bit for him to, go back to being at that level. So Ugas is in a tough spot here because he's going to have to win and win decisively for everybody to still bring him up as a fighter. And if he loses, they're going to try to write him off.
Yeah. Does the odds say anything to you at all, Rob?
I mean, again, it's It doesn't, because Barrios is being written as an underdog because he's lost twice. You have to look at the level of competition that he's lost to, and how he's lost those fights. He was in a tough position against Tank, and one that I thought he was doing very well for himself. I thought he was doing very well in that Tank fight for himself until Tank was Tank. Against Keith Thurman, Keith Thurman has a lot reserved in his Tank because he doesn't fight often at all. And he never fought the great big battles that he should have at the prime of his career. So it's hard to be like, oh, you fought an aging Keith Thurman. Well, no, you did not, because Keith hasn't taken that type of punishment over the years. So that's why he's an underdog in this fight. And I honestly think he can win this fight. And it, to me, it not be an upset. It's just a kid who's gaining more and more confidence at an elite level, definitely getting the experience that he should, and developing into the best boxer he can be.
Well, I like the fight. I agree completely with the odds. I mean, I would be very surprised if Barrios was able to pull this off.
Well, you know what? These odds are actually reminding me of when Pacquiao versus Ugas happened. I was like, Ugas was the underdog in that fight, and whoever bet Ugas really made a lot of money because it was like total dominance over Pacquiao. So I mean, who's to say that Barrios can't overcome that jab? I mean, like I said, that's Ugas' main tool. But Jason hit it right on the money. Inactivity. Now, Ugas, he has a reason for being inactive. He had to give his eye time enough to heal properly. But you're still inactive going into a fight with a very strong and determined Barrios, who is an aggressor in his fights usually. But he has a good skill level too with his movement that he does in the ring. He showed that with Javante. And he has a pretty nice stance and jab too. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. Most people would lean towards Ugas because of the Cuban pedigree. But there's also, isn't there like an age gap there too? I think
9 years, 37 to 28.
Yeah. So, who's going to have more in their tank? I mean, if Barrios is able to be aggressive and force the action and get some effective offense going, like it's got to be effective punches, because they're not just going to give Barrios a decision when it's close. He has got to be landing cleaner punches and more often than Ugas.
Definitely agree.
I'll tell you like this, Lucas. I like Barrios' chances much, much more better in this type of fight than Keith Thurman or Tank, especially a Gervonta Tank Davis fight.
I don't know though. Like you got to think Ugas is. We're still talking welterweight compared to what was like
140. He fought Tank at 140, but he fought Keith at 147, and he did have Keith hurt like twice in that fight. So that's not to say that he might have more power than people give him credit for, because when it comes to Thurman, he's very much that fighter that can hide how much pain he really is in at times. So we don't know like how much that weight, that extra 7 pounds, is helping Barrios. But I can definitely agree with Rob on the point that those two fights with elite boxers is going to be able to help him. But who was the last person that Barrios fought? What it couldn't have been Keith, was it?
no. It's Giovanni Santiago that was back in February.
Yes. But that was 140 pounder moving up.
That was He won for it was 147, but
Yes, that was. But I'm saying that Santana's previous fight was really 140. He only moved up to 147 because I
right.
think he fought Broner that one time. But I just feel like Barrios is a good size for an Ugas.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything I say or everything I'm leaning towards is definitely Ugas. I don't really see a version of this fight where Barrios comes out ahead. Maybe I'm wrong, but I did want to get your guys' predictions before we moved on.
Well, now I'm confused because I understand what you're saying, Lucas, but also I'm taking in what Rob said, my persuasive my persuasive boxing buddies have made me go from Ugas to something closer to a possible draw.
Really?
Because Ugas needs to work on his entertainment factor. He goes in there and he's boring as usual. No offense. Okay. I know he's into the
It
sweet
is what it
science,
is.
but that doesn't always get you to fight.
It doesn't, but it kind of his style is boring, but it's also boring and clearly in his favor. Uh, like an Arislandi Lara type style, you're gonna get that with the Cuban pedigree, but it's just how it comes out. It turns out that way. I mean, it's ugly, but it still makes you look like you're dominant in that fight.
Only when he's willing to engage, and that is what my prediction is. When you come off these injuries like that, to Ugas's credit, you're usually not willing to engage as much as you normally would. And for that dominant factor to come into play, he's going to have to be engaging because Barrios is aggressive. He is in your face. He will try to take it to you and bring the fight. Meaning, Barrios is going to show up. Okay? Is Ugas going to? Is he going to be timid?
That usually plays into the Cuban hands, though.
Is Ugas going to, though? Right. Is he going to be timid? Is he going to be willing to be engaging? I don't think he will. And this is not a write-off to Ugas at all. He's not done. He just needs to come back and take more fights. So when he's ready to engage, when he's ready to be that takeover type fighter in these style clashes, these style types of fights right here, he can win again. I don't think he's going to be that on Saturday night. I think it's going to be a major upset. I'm going with Barrios.
Okay.
All right. I'm much more interested in this fight now because I've been about that Lubin fight. So now y'all have gotten me excited about this particular fight, and the possible outcome.
You never made a official prediction though, Sakura, did you?
I did. I said I think it's gonna be a draw
now. Oh, we don't call draws around here. All right, I'll let it slide. We got Ramos Lubin to talk about anyway. That was a good intro for that. So let's take it away. Anybody?
Oh, well, that's the fight that I'm excited about. Lubin will be coming back off of his loss to Pandora, I believe it's Pandora. And, Ramos is in it too. He has this chip on his shoulders about proving that he belongs in an elite status fighter. So this is like one of them crossroad fights. Due to both of them and where they're at in their careers. And, Lubin also in that fight took a lot of damage. I mean, that was a brutal, and I mean brutal fight that he had with Fundora. And he wanted a rematch. He's another one that wanted that rematch. So I have to give him credit for wanting that rematch. But since that isn't available, we have Ramos. And on top of that, we don't know how much that brutal fight had taken out of Lubin. We don't really know if it had some type of cumulative effect on him. but we'll find out because Ramos is all about his pressure and he's all about bringing the business. He likes to cause damage. This is what I like about him. Uh, yes, that's right. I'm a girl that want to see you want to win. I want to see you with that fire and that killer instinct. Lubin is also someone that likes to finish strong with his, hammer and what was the other one called? One hand is hammer, the other one he calls something else.
I don't remember.
But I don't remember either, but his hammer is something. So somebody probably is going to drop in this fight, guys. I'm gonna go with the will and determination of Lubin, though. Erickson, Lubin.
This is why I love this fight. This has Fondora Lubin written all over it. And what happens in a rematch usually, you don't get as action-packed as that first fight was with Lubin, Fondora. That was a fight of the year. That really was a fight of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And how action-packed that was, usually it doesn't become as great in the rematch. So enter Jesus Ramos Lubin, which is Lubin Fondora 2.0. Okay, because you have 80% KO ratio for Ramos versus 72% KO ratio for Lubin.
Wow.
20-0 versus 25-2. Okay, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fireworks. So that's why I love this fight, absolutely. And then bring in the hunger factor. That's what happened with the Lubin Fondora fight.
Yeah.
Fondora was hungry. He wanted to prove. He was the one that had something to prove. And Lubin was trying to prove that Charlo knockout was just a blip under his career.
Right.
So now after he lost to Fondora, he's wanting to come back again. So this is an amazing bout on this undercard. They're gonna try and steal the show. This is gonna be action packed. Lubin has to grit it out though this time. He has to show more grit. He has to show more fight. He has to show that dog. He has to show that dog in him to beat Jesus Ramos. I'm going with Jesus Ramos in this one because I'm going with my head, not my emotions, not my gut feeling. I'm gonna stick to my head on this one as a fellow gambler and take the smart choice because I just don't see Lubin winning in these situations. He's lost already before in this situation. It's going to be a hell of a fight, though.
And, of course, the odds he's talking about is Jesus Ramos 500 favorite, while Erickson Lubin's plus 350 underdog. So that one's even more widespread than Ugas Barrios.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that. I mean, one thing about that Fondora fight, if you guys remember, there was a point in the fight when Fondora got dropped, but they said it was a slip. Remember that? And that was not counted, and that cost Lubin that fight. Besides the fact that he just looked like, damn. I mean, wow. I mean, I just think that's kind of rough on Erickson. I would suspect that it would be closer odds because Jesus is kind of unproven as well.
For sure. And I think it's maybe a little overzealous with Ramos. I mean, Lubin's no easy walk in the park, and those odds just don't match up for me. I'm also surprised. I don't get it. I'm actually favoring Lubin for me in this fight. One, he's going to come out with a lot more to prove. He has seen more professionally at least in the ring,
Right.
than what Ramos has to offer. I mean, he's got a little chip on his shoulder too. I strongly believe you, Sakura. I'm kind of back to Lubin. I think you helped sell it for me too.
Yeah, he does have a little bit more experience with top level competition, and there was some controversy with that Fundora fight. So I think that it's worthy. That would have been worthy of a rematch had Mendoza not, um, you know, not stopped. He didn't knock him completely out, but he stopped Fundora. So that just threw everything off when that happened. So we'll see. And I'm ready to see Fundora again too. He's been out for quite a while now.
Mm-hmm. They're both ready
I
to
mean,
come back.
your boy, don't forget, your boy Ramos did beat your boy Joey Spencer in a nice little TKO victory.
Yeah, but Joey wasn't at his right weight class. Remember, he had went up to face him at a different weight class. So I do remember that though. Like I said, I do like Ramos's tenacity and that killer instinct he has. He's in the hurt business. There's no doubt about it. So that means that Erickson is in for another long night in the office. Unless we get a KO right away, which is not out of the question with those percentages you just spit out.
Yeah, they both got power, man, and they're both aggressive. And they both also get sometimes. I would say they compromise their defense when they go on the offensive,
Mhm.
and they can get caught at any time. That's what makes that specific fight on the undercard for me a bit interesting. You know what I'm saying? Now Lubin is coming off a nice win, and if I believe. And that also plays to your confidence when you step into the ring. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same coming in from a win than coming in from a loss, especially at that level. So I don't know. I honestly feel like that fight is like 50-50. But
Mhm.
of course, Lubin being touched. He got caught before, kind of like when he got caught with Charlo. So a lot of people are sure basing their opinions based on that. But I felt like he made some adjustment. He felt like a fighter. He grew as a fighter. He keeps adding up tools to his repertoire, and that's why he's stepping up for this fight. But hey, I wouldn't be surprised if Ramos or Lubin get caught with something. You know what I'm saying? Them being aggressive, leaving it out there. Just I don't feel like that fight is gonna go the
It's,
whole 12 rounds.
mhm.
Yeah, it seems like both are too.
You're in Orlando, so have you heard anything about his training camp or anything? Or is he training in Fort Lauderdale right now?
Yeah, he trains in the West Palm Beach area, Fort Lauderdale.
Mm,
He comes here sometimes here and there for sparring stuff like that. But no, his work ethic never questioned. The
yeah.
man works hard. He's not known for cutting corners or being a slacker, nothing like that. He works hard. He knows to be a durable fighter. You know what I'm saying? And he's pretty much. I feel like he's growing up, and this is another opportunity that gets thrown at him. And I feel like he's gonna try to take full percent advantage of it.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Well, Javi, I think you're the only one that hasn't gave us an actual prediction.
Yeah. Javi didn't give us an actual prediction.
Okay, I got. We're talking about these two undisputed champions going at it, right?
Talking
I
about
got Logan
Ramos
Paul, man.
Lubin. Talking about Ramos Lubin.
I might go with Logan Paul. Well, hold on. We're talking about Lubin Ramos. Man, I don't know, man. To me, it's truly a 50-50 fight. But damn, man. I want to ride with my boy Hammer, but I feel like probably if it goes to 12 rounds, the decision might go to Ramos.
Okay. So unanimous decision. You think it'll be a split decision?
It could be. It could very well be. It could be a majority decision, split decision for what we know. You know.
I'll tell you one thing. If that thing goes 12 rounds, that's gonna be a hell of a fight. With those two highest KO ratios, 80% versus 72%, it's gonna be a lot of power. A lot of
Yeah.
power in that one.
That's like one of them fights that's like shortening your career type fights.
Man,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so be it, man. I would love to
their
see
style.
it go 12 rounds.
Yeah. That's their style. That's their style. Like they're gonna leave. They're gonna leave a little piece of themselves in that ring, and I feel like we're gonna see a bunch of probably knockdowns. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of like, standing 8 counts possibilities, which we're not gonna see that standing 8, but we could be like where we can, apply them, and they're gonna go back at it. But if it goes 12 rounds, I feel like Ramos has less damage. There's less miles on his odometer. So because of that, he might be able to withstand the heat a little more than, you know what I'm saying, the old steel that's already been through some wars, that been through some heat. You know what I'm saying? It takes a little piece of the steel every time you put it on the heat.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
I got a question, and this is leading into the big fight. But is there something wrong with me that right now in this sport at this time, I want a throw the damn towel moment? Like, I want a fight to just happen to where you have to be like, throw the damn towel in. This is crazy. Just throw the towel.
No more towels, because I don't want to go back to the glove gates and all that was going on when that towel was thrown in with Wilder Fury. I don't want to go back into the land of the conspiracy theories. So
no, I'm talking about us as fans and people seeing it just have to yell at the corner to throw the damn towel in, just like Rocky, just like Apollo Creed. And he was like, throw in the damn towel.
That happens to me so much at our cards that's here in Florida. I'm just like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, what is wrong with this training team?
Yes. Some of them local ones, man, you're scared.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump gears here.
Okay.
Will jumping 2 weight divisions be too much for Charlo? Let's jump right into the Canelo Charlo, guys.
Okay.
Going up 2 weight divisions, I don't think it's good for anybody. I would not recommend it. I think you're already setting yourself up to fail. I mean, if you look at Mikey Garcia jumping up to face Spence, Bronner jumping up 2 weight divisions to take on Maidana, it does not work.
Who was that? That took on Maidana?
Bronner.
Oh yeah.
Jump the weight division.
No, I think it's okay to jump up. I think that the problem is when you try to jump back down, you can't just go right back down to 154 after you've been at 168.
I agree. But it's also like, when has it happened and actually worked in the benefit of the person who jumped up 2 weight classes?
Roberto Duran, for one.
This is a different day and age, though. If you had to bring up Duran, I mean,
he went from lightweight.
Yeah, but I mean, Lucas, the same Canelo also, he jumped up 2 weight divisions when he faced Kovalev and he took the belt from him.
Not really, though, because he already had fought at like 168. He just came back down and then went back up again. That man he fluctuates so much.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, it's not like Charlo is walking around at 154. Well, 153. He's not doing that. His walk around rate is probably more like 165. So he's not jumping up 2 weight classes other than like if you just take in the ring. And so that for that reason, we just saw that there's not as big of a difference in their physicalities as I originally thought that they was. So it takes a lot of that disadvantage away from the equation when you start looking at, okay, well, he really doesn't, walk around at this weight and at 150 something.
Right.
He's in the gym all the time with these other elite boxers. I mean, the stable there in Texas. You got the Houston crew, and then you got your Dallas crew. I mean, those two teams are constantly sparring each other, and so it makes you more of an elite fighter that's able to fight 160 and 168 pounders, because you're used to fighting people that are in that fight range. And out of all the stable mates, Charlo would be, the lower weight that he was fighting at. Everybody else was at 160, or Spence, of course, 147. It's just, I just see it like it's not like it's a huge jump like we're thinking in our minds. But I think the real issue is going to be that Canelo has gone up and now he's coming back down off of his Bivol, situation. He did one fight, okay, in Mexico, and he didn't look that hot there. Um, will he come in better shape for this fight? Because I always try to eliminate how a boxer looks when they're fighting at home. It's like so much confusion and distractions and everything going on that performance may not have been what it should have been, because of that. So we have to know, like, well, is that really how Canelo's looking lately? Or is Canelo going to come in there as a strong 168 pounder, serious, no distractions? Because I think that the mentality that a lot of his other opponents have had is not the mentality that Jermell Charlo is coming in to fight with. I mean, he believes he can beat Canelo. That is very different than what we've seen in the past with some of these opponents. Canelo's fought. They got in the ring and it's like they just like, okay, I'm gonna get paid regardless. And I know that Canelo can tell the difference in this particular fighter's mentality. So you never know what could pop off. I just really want a great fight, and even if Charlo doesn't win, my thing is like, you at least tried. You went up, you challenged, they gave you the opportunity, and you jumped through that damn door, and you thought you could win, and you tried your best. So to me, he gets kudos regardless. Canelo, and he gets money, exactly. And Canelo, he is in a situation where he might have thought like, hey, yeah, I'm fighting somebody at 154. That shit could backfire on him, because he's just thinking, oh, I normally get some of my opponents from 2 weight classes down, not thinking that this is not that guy that you want to try this with. So that's what makes this such an interesting fight to me.
Yeah, I know it's undisputed versus undisputed, but and I know he spars and he has a good team. I'm not saying that Charlo's not a great fighter. I think he is. Just, you're a great fighter at 2 weight classes down. If he had just recently moved up and fought another fighter, maybe even some kind of tune-up, I would feel a little bit more comfortable with this. But it just seems like Canelo's just bringing up like he usually does. Let's bring up the smaller guy, try to fight up at his weight. And, it's the usual tactics.
And that's why I'm like, this might backfire on him, because he's used to doing it and it's worked in the past. This could be that one that backfires.
You never know. Brett says, Charlo says Canelo don't like an opponent with lots of movement. That if Canelo just don't commit like he did against Kovalev, instead of make Charlo come forward and just use slip and counter tactics.
Well, he is right. Brett is right about that one statement where Canelo doesn't like. He hasn't been known in the past to really deal with a lot of boxers with a lot of movements if they are in his weight divisions. Now, if they're coming up in weight, then he doesn't mind Amir Khan moving around or Cotto moving around some. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't phase him. But if he gets in there, he doesn't normally choose 160 or 168 pounder that can that has that sweet science and has a lot of foot movement. He's correct.
Yeah, for that part, I agree with Brad. You know, he does struggle a bit with fighters with good movement, with with solid footwork, and you know easy on their toes, quick on their toes.
Mhm.
Now, the thing about this whole two weight classes up and down is like you compromise something as an athlete. You possess something that you have as a superior skills. It could be your ski, your speed, your power, your reflexes, your agility, all this stuff. When you go up in weight, you lose a little bit of that speed. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You're compromising a little bit of speed for power because you're probably gonna have more power when you're a little bigger. But at the same time, and it's like this is a little bit interesting because even though the both fighters probably gonna, well, not both fighters, especially Charlo, he might be compromising speed because of the weight. This is usually the way that these guys walk around at. If you fight, you want at 154, you're usually walking around at 170, 168. Myself, I fight at 154 and I walk around 170, 169, no, 165, 170.
You
Yeah,
don't even look like you're that big, like that you that heavy.
yeah. So
Ah,
that's pretty much it. Usually,
so
I
it's mostly muscle, huh? It's like muscle
yeah,
heavy with muscle.
yeah, and when you're pretty much fighting at your weight class, you have a lot more weight to carry around, and that might compromise with your conditioning, and it's I don't know, it's interesting because Canelo, that's what Canelo's doing pretty much. He's bringing Charlo up, this specific Charlo, because he knows that his movement and speed is going to be compromised, and he's yet to see if that power is going to be a problem or not. But I think a Charlo advantage will be movement, footwork. Don't stay and don't commit too much because Canelo is quick from the waist up, but his feet, he's not that quick on his
Stationary.
toes. So, yeah,
Yeah, his feet are very stationary, but they're strong. You
yeah,
want a boxer to have that strong uh leg, muscle tone to be able to stand in a stance and not be moved when someone wants to push you around. But then it works against him when you need to be moving and quick on your feet. But
yeah.
Javi, you were correct that in the all access, Charlo did mention that when he first was in the ring at this new weight, that he did feel slower and he didn't like that feeling.
Right.
So it is something that he's already said he could tell a difference with. But now he feels like, he feels good with it now, that he's been at that weight and training for a while. But he
Yeah,
said that he definitely felt that speed not there.
yeah.
And see, that's why I would have felt better with some kind of tune-up. He can get more used to how he is at this weight. With that being an issue, yeah, he's got to say, "Well, I feel better now." Because if he says, "Oh, I feel like shit now," like nobody's going to tune into the fight. He's got to
Yeah,
put up at least a good front. I mean,
But
yeah,
it could be like, why would you as a boxer even mention that? Unless you want maybe Canelo's team to get some type of, you know, mindset that, oh, the kid's slower now. Like he even said it to it, like, and then they get in there and he's still fast. They're gonna be like, what the fuck? I thought he said he slowed down. You know, so it could be a little mind trick there too.
yeah. It could very well be, but at the same time, it's like it's kind of like what Lucas said in a way too. It's like is being comfortable at whatever weight you carry around. Because for the most part, let's say if you fight at 147, right? Most of these guys they come down from 155, 160 down, and they stay the whole training camp they're around
Sorry.
150 and under, or maybe 152, 153 at times. The whole training camp. So that's your weight train while you're training, but then you have to burn those last pounds for the last days to make weight, and some of them blow up 10, 15 pounds, which that also takes a toll on your weight on fight night because you've been training at 150, let's say 153, 152. All of a sudden you make 147, you blow up to 160. That could have a factor. So that's what I want to see because I'm sure probably Charlo don't have to make no weight for this one. Canelo doesn't have to make no weight for. They're not killing themselves to make weight. They're not cutting weight. They literally fighting at the weight that they at. Probably just lose a pound or two, and that's also is gonna be that they're less drained, and that might give us a good fight because they're both gonna be super healthy, not drained out, not dehydrated and all of the stuff, not stressed out because trying to cut weight and make the weight. We taking that out of the equation. I feel like it's gonna take, it makes this fight interesting.
No, you're right. I mean, they're not cutting weight, but that's part of the problem. See, I'm looking at it vice versa. Basically, you're looking at it like Marquez did. He had to put on a bunch of water weight to be able to come up to fight Mayweather. I see it that way, right? He's adding. You got to think an extra 15 pounds. That extra 15 pounds is not muscle. That extra 15 pounds is going to come from nothing but water weight or fat. Not good places.
What Javi said that he fights at 154, but his walk around weight is like 170 something.
Right now, I'm 168. Right now, that's usually, I keep myself around that between 165 and 170. I try to stay more on the 165 side, so I only have to lose 10 pounds. I don't have to kill myself too much when I'm gonna make weight.
Right,
but
that's not saying that he doesn't already fight at a comfortable weight. We don't know what he walks around at. We assume it's somewhat like you, body frame wise, but
yeah, I would say 170. Think about it. Errol Spence, he fights at 147. Crawford, these guys walk around sometimes 150, 158, 160, and they fight 147.
Yeah, I mean, you just never know. I mean, you look at Canelo and how short he is, but look at how he has been training and been able to just expand back up. Yeah, he's big.
I just feel like it would be a problem if he is trying to go, when he tries to go back down right away to 168 without stopping in between, maybe. Like, it needs to be a gradual reduction back to 154, because if not, that's where he's going to run into problems. I mean, that's a hard thing for your kidneys and everything else to take when you done, got comfortable at a higher weight, and now you trying to drain yourself to get back down to 154. And who knows if he's even able to get back at 154 once going up that weight.
You know what? Another thing about that is remember what I was telling you guys about compromising speed and agility and that quick movement. I what comes to mind for me is Roy Jones Jr. versus Ruiz.
Mm-hmm.
When he went to heavyweight, yeah, he did his thing. That's what was his one of his life dreams to do that. But at the same time, when he came back down, I personally felt like he lost that, like a split second of speed. He lost a little bit of that quick explosiveness, those fast twitch muscles, because he went up in weight. And when you come back down, sometimes you don't get it no more. Now,
it's fast.
You also got to put the age factor. When these guys say 19, 20, 21, they're already in their late 20s, early 30s. Once you're 30, you don't drain weight like you used to when you're 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, your body just you won't cut as much weight as you used to as you get older.
Yeah.
So that's also, and then if you're going up in weight or just staying around on your walk around weight for too long, by the time you go back down to your fight weight, your regular one, it's gonna be an issue because you've been 10, 15 pounds, maybe 20 above your weight, your fight weight for too long. Now your body's not, it's not fluctuating up and down. It's just being steady at a heavier weight.
Yeah, I honestly don't know if he gets back down. And I think it's the WBO that's talking about taking that belt as soon as he gets announced, as an undisputed champion. Like, I mean, that's one belt that's already, you would have to challenge again at 154. And then you got these other 3 belts too. I mean, and it's not good if he has to go down to 154 quickly. That whole quick thing just to keep them belts is what's gonna hurt him. So if I were him, I would let that go and then just try to get undisputed again at 160.
160, yeah.
160 is something he doesn't have yet, and he would be a undisputed champion then, because those belts, it's hardly anybody at 160 anymore.
Right now.
Yeah, those belts are up for grab for whoever. So I see Will. What's up, Hunter? Hunter talking about somebody gonna get hurt.
Yeah, for sure.
So Lucas, my answer to that question is simple. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about the weight.
You've never cared about weight, but weight does affect fights.
Charlo, you say you're one of the best fighters alive right now. Canelo, you say you're one of the best fighters alive right now. Cut the crap. Let's fight. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We got another comment. Brett, do you guys think that Charlo is mentally prepared going into this fight after seeing him in the press and on social media? Maybe I'm reading too much into something that isn't apparent. I don't ever really read a lot into the press and the media coverage of fights. I don't, but
well, I think he's mentally prepared, yes. And he's been that way for some time. They have video of him sitting at Canelo's fight with Plant being like, I could do it, man. I could beat him. I could beat this dude. Like, he's not even up to fight him. And he was like in the audience looking at him saying that he could. So,
I'm gonna tell you something.
Confidence is built in, whether it can be true or not. No,
well, it is 100% true.
Yeah.
Every time you go somewhere, every time as a fighter, every time you go to these shows, these events, as a fighter, and you see somebody around your weight class, you sizing them up. You taking their move, and you, especially if they're performing, and you know that's your weight class, you're seeing like, oh, I will do this, I will do that. You're literally playing all these mental games that sometimes you don't even share with nobody. It's just in your game. It's like you're playing a video game, but it's you and that guy that you're watching. They'll be like, I might see this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Sizing them up.
I can definitely see Charlo, saying all these things, and when they go to their fights, that's why sometimes the same promoter, sometimes they will give you tickets to go watch fights, either with your same promotion company or with the other ones that you might get ran into. So these guys are constantly sizing each other up and working. They see each other in the gym. I don't think they ever have sparred before because, they've been talking about a fight between them. Remember, this fight was supposed to be when Canelo was pretty much at 154, still 155 per se, right? Right, Lucas? It was 155, it wasn't 154. So, so a lot of people wanted Charlo back then. I personally feel like Charlo was a bit green back then, but at the same time, right now, Charlo has that on his favor now. He's been in there with some tough competition. He's undisputed. And he's been down. He lost already, so he has all those things going on for him that might become helpful to go against the cash cow, the big guy. Now think about it, guys. I feel like everybody here on this podcast right now, including yourself, Sakura, you'll get in there for a few millions and let Canelo just hey, listen, man, give me that check, fine. I'm a swing. Give
him what I got.
Yeah, but that's why I was saying, like, some of his other opponents that Canelo's has had that mentality. They ain't give a damn if they actually won the fight. They knew they was getting them big paydays. But Charlo don't have that mentality. He like, I'm gonna get this money and I'm gonna beat Canelo. Like, that's something that Canelo isn't used to. So I think Canelo's gonna come in top shape this time because he can feel that Charlo is like confident. So I think that we're gonna see like the best of Canelo that we've been able to see in a couple of fights, actually.
So actually, here's my answer to the question, and I'll elaborate more when we do the breakdown.
I mean, we're heading into that. It's getting later.
Is Charlo mentally prepared and ready? I think he is thinking in his mind that this is the hardest fight of his entire career, and Canelo is a monster. What I think will happen in the ring is he'll be pleasantly surprised. Canelo ain't him.
What? Say that again? Wait a minute. Huh? Wait, say that trying to give.
He is confusing everybody.
Yes, he done confused me. Are you saying Charlo is gonna win? Or are you saying Canelo?
Charlo
Or you
is
just talking about
thinking
mentality?
that Canelo is the hardest opponent of his career. He
Yes.
thinks that Canelo is this monster persona that everybody gives him. When he steps in the ring Saturday night, he's going to be surprised. That ain't Canelo.
Look,
Oh,
well,
okay. So you're saying he's overrated right now.
I gotta disagree. Look, you're looking at Charlo best fights. You got Castano, who you struggle with. You got a loss to Tony Harrison. And I haven't seen vast improvements from those fights. I haven't. I mean, I just haven't. And Canelo is leagues above both of those guys. I don't see this.
I tell you what, it's that late round power that was displayed with the Brian Castano fight at the second one. The Harrison fight, that was like Harrison is known to be, Detroit, sweet science, stick and move type boxer, throw in a hook here and there, give a different look with the speed of the punch. It's more sweet science like. So I could see why he lost that fight at that particular time in his career. However, it was close enough that they needed a rematch, right? So, I mean, those are those two fights. Both that Harris fight, it elevated Charlo, and then the two Castano fights, well, it's like two rematches back to back, basically. They elevated him as a boxer. But also we saw that Charlo can do what Canelo does, which is have late round stoppages. They both have power towards the end of the fight. Now, what I've noticed in Canelo's last 3 or 4 fights is he doesn't do much activity most of the fight. And then when you tire yourself out, that's when he pounces on you and knocks you out. That's his strategy. I'm not sure if that strategy is going to work with a Charlo. Like, because he's on the move, he can stick and move, he can brawl with you. Like, there's multiple tools that he can bring out at different points in the fight. Now, the only question in my mind that's still out there is, can Charlo take Canelo's power? Because he do got that shit. Like, it's not like he's not a heavy puncher. And everybody that Charlo has fought in the past, they haven't been known for power. Tim Tszyu was going to be his first test with someone who really had a lot of power besides himself. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's that question. The chin. Other than that, I feel like Charlo has a couple of more tools than what Canelo is used to using. Canelo used to have them tools, but now he done went through so many fights where he hasn't had to use those tools that they're not sharp anymore. Like, so I just feel like this is an even fight for me. Like, it could go either way.
So, exactly. Canelo has been in too many fights lately where he won before the bell rung. He won even before the bell rung. Listen, Canelo, the mystique about Canelo is everybody says he has power. That's what the whole mystique is about with Canelo. When in reality, he picks fighters that he bullies in the ring. He doesn't have to be as engaging or throwing out all the tools that you normally need in a boxing match, because these guys are mentally tired and exhausted, physically tired and exhausted. They wear themselves out, and then here comes the boom.
Here comes the boom. Here comes the boom. I know where you got that from. It's a black thing.
Canelo is going to be in a boxing match. He's actually going to be in a boxing match this time. Charlo's not going to lay down. He's not going to let him bully him out there. He's going to use the ring. He's going to use the movement. He's going to use the hand speed. He's going to use all the great stuff that they trained and taught him his whole career and that they teach him in that gym. and he's going to be surprised when he's able to get through Canelo a lot easier than he probably expected, when all Canelo is doing is moving forward, looking for one or two shots to try to bully his way in, and he can't get there.
But Canelo will fool you too. He'll let you, do things, and you'll feel like you're Superman in there only because he knows you're gonna let down your guard later in the fight. So he'll play that game with you too.
So
that's why it's intriguing.
So he will. But the fighters that he's been able to break down like that, they just broken down. Caleb Plant, breakdown. Billy Joe Saunders, breakdown. In fights that they were doing very well in the beginning of. Charlo's not that guy. Charlo is just not that guy. If Charlo can get that kind of a lead, he's going to push it into the later rounds, like Shakur said. He's going to build confidence on that. It's going to be a whitewash. Charlo by unanimous decision.
Listen, I mean,
Lucas, can you screen record this and we can save it for later?
I mean, I'm just not as confident as you about it, Rob. I want to see it. I do want to see it. No lie, I want to see that go down, just like you said. I am not about to lie here. But what I'm trying to tell you is Canelo is a little bit more sneakier than that. And while you're sitting there punching and moving around and you're just losing energy and he's waiting to get you, I'm just not like, who has Charlo been able to face that gave him some power? I mean, Harrison isn't known for power. Neither is Brian Castano. I mean, and
keep in mind, Shakur's right. Keep in mind that's also power 2 weight divisions below where Canelo is. 2 divisions, man. Jumping up weight divisions. Everybody just, I don't know. Everybody's okay with it, and I'm like, it's not gonna work out like Charlo thinks it is. One, okay, Charlo don't have power. And Charlo hasn't been able to take power, right? How could Charlo win? Unanimous decision. That's it. And you're talking about Canelo, who damn near won a unanimous decision, or at least a decision, against Bivol, who dog walked him all fucking fight. He's got 5 rounds before that motherfucker even steps in the ring. You actually think that Charlo's going to get a decision against Canelo? That's not even a possibility, okay? Vegas would burn to the fucking ground. Charlo has to knock him out to win.
If Charlo wants to win, he can't let it go to the damn judges. Like,
he can't knock him out. He can't.
It's gonna be
baby.
Based on both of y'all. It's gonna be a split decision. Canelo, based on what y'all just described. Leave me alone. You're supposed to be fun. Like, you're taking my excitement away. Damn it.
Rappy says, I think we're going to see a different Canelo. We know he's going to fight top-notch fighter. He will be playing possum certain times. He will be timing Charlo's punches.
Yeah, he will be. That's the thing about Canelo. Canelo is not known for speed, but his timing, his counter, it just superb. And then, I kind of wanted to add to what Robert was saying earlier about the plan broke down. The what other fighter broke down when they fought Canelo, that they were doing great up to the point where they broke down. They didn't break down, my brother. Canelo broke them down. Canelo put them through some pressure that made them just abandon they whatever was working for them and go on like not survival mode, but go on, just it got them out of their game.
I think it's
to be working.
Out of fuel, trying to stay on the stick and walk around them and stuff like that. And he knows that they're gonna slow down, and that's when he's right there waiting. And he hasn't exerted hardly any of his energy. He reserved his energy, so it's like easy prey. Then it's like, oh yeah, I got your ass now. You ain't moving around like you were in the first half of the fight. This is his strategy lately.
Well,
Yep.
it's not just that. I mean, if he can, he goes to the body to slow you down to make it easier for him to time your ass. But even if not, even if he can't do that, he's still just incredibly good at the timing. You've seen it with Amir Khan, you know. As soon as you just let up a little bit, you overextend that combination by a tenth of a second, Canelo's going to get your ass. He's going to make you pay for it. And
Man, that was a hell of a knockout, man. I felt like he decapitated Can for a little bit.
Well, you know, he hasn't been the same. He wasn't the same boxer after that fight.
Nah.
That was a fight where he took it because the money was so awesome, and it basically ruined the rest of his career. The longevity of his career was gone.
yeah,
I do still kind of feel similar with Triple G and Kell Brook as well.
and look,
The same after that orbital bone injury.
I want to put that out there for Charlo. I mean, he's jumping 2 weight divisions. I understand he's undisputed. He is a good fighter, but the same shit can happen. Okay, he's fighting up 2 weight divisions. I would rather not see him throw his career away to possibly get knocked out badly, which is kind of what I'm predicting. But I'm going to say a late 8 to 10 round.
You're gonna say he's getting KO'd.
Yeah, he's getting knocked out.
I mean, but you're saying that because, like I'm saying, like he hasn't been tested with power before.
He not only has he not been tested with power before,
Power puncher.
right, but we've already seen him be stunned and be hurt by lesser of fighters. And the resume just isn't there for me to say that he can even hang with them boxing wise. I don't have faith in Charlo whatsoever. And I really don't. Canelo's a 420 favorite. I would fully put money on him. I would not bet on Charlo with being a 330 underdog. I got Canelo on this one. I don't know. 2 weight divisions is too much for me. That's all I got.
Canelo we see that night, and it depends on whether or not Charlo is able to figure out that puzzle and know that he cannot get comfortable at any point in that fight. He cannot be comfortable thinking that Canelo's not going to throw something because you don't know when it's coming. You know it's coming, but you don't know when it's going to come. And if you slack off at any point, Canelo is going to be there because that's what he does. He sits there and he's like, la, 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 la. And he just does like this. And, you know, he's like, yeah, go on with your, you know, all your stuff. And he has an amazing chin. Nobody can't take that away from him. I mean, Canelo has an amazing goat-like chin.
Yeah.
So
that's something you can't. So there go the knockout possibility right there.
Right.
Now you're talking about a decision. Now you're talking about what, Lucas? You always say he comes in with at least one judge on his side.
I mean, at least 2 rounds, if not more.
So you would have to basically, you definitely would have to dominate every freaking round, and then you still might just get a draw.
Yeah,
I mean,
or do like Bivol did.
But I think this is just more of the same. This is shit that we've seen already that is disguised and masked as something else, right? This is Josito Lopez. This is Miguel Cotto. This is Amir Khan. This is all these guys that he brings up to lose to him. This is what it is. It's disguised and made pretty in this little pretty bow on it, but it's the same shit we've been getting sold from day one. Same shit.
Hey, Luke, where was that fight with Bivol held? What state was that?
Oh shit, I don't even know. Let's see.
Vegas, wasn't it?
Yeah, most of his fights are in Vegas.
I don't think he's fought outside of Vegas.
I believe Canelo.
I think Canelo by decision myself. Canelo by decision, Canelo by gift.
Arena. Yeah, it was.
But I mean, look at how bad though. Like, I'm sorry, Bivol whipped that ass. It was not a close fight. If it was a close fight, and you think it was a close fight, then you don't know boxing too good. But 113, 115, you gotta be fucking shitting me.
Yeah, they almost took it away from that guy.
115. They were trying to fuck Bivol. They were trying to fuck his ass. Look, you cannot beat. Even if you clean sweep his ass, he still might come. Mayweather, he got a draw against Mayweather. You cannot beat this guy on the cards unless your name is Floyd Mayweather. And even then, you better watch out. You better
You're
watch
making
out.
me think about this female fight this weekend with Jessica McCaskill and Sandy Ryan, because there was a judge that was brought in from North Carolina and he had it like it was an even fight. Then there was one Florida judge that had McCaskill ahead, and then the other judge had Ryan, which made it a draw. And I was like, boo! Because I felt like Sandy did enough in that fight, and it was for undisputed. She had a WBO belt, and McCaskill was sitting on 3 of the other titles. And so instead of Sandy waking up the next morning as an undisputed, being the 19th woman with an undisputed status in hit, and I'm sorry, being the the 10th woman with an undisputed status, she woke up and she just still only had her WBO belt. And this is what happens when these judges are like, all over the place with their scoring. And if that happens in this fight, we're going to know it's going to be some shenanigans. That's why I'm kind of surprised that Vegas didn't still go along with a draw for Canelo when it came to that Bivol fight.
Yeah.
Now, that was shocking to me. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna actually give it to Bivol. I was
that's sad that we're excited that they actually did the right thing.
And it's not because I was against Canelo, by the way. It was because Bivol earned that win, and I just didn't want to see a boxer get that taken away from him.
Right. I'm that way with everybody. I know everybody that watches the show knows I'm not a huge Mayweather or a Canelo fan, but at the same point, I want to see the right guy win. And at least we got that. Ralphie says, do you guys think, like with Mayweather dominated Marquez when he came up from 2 weight divisions? I don't think it's going to be that bad because, I mean, Marquez was all water weight. He was very heavy. Charlo's going to be in good shape. Okay, he's still going to be in good shape. He may even come in light. If I was in his corner, I would tell him to come in light. Don't come in at the max weight. Come in light. Speed's going to be to his advantage if he's going to win at all. But like we just talked about, I just don't see it. Guys, I want to get you. It's getting late, so let's get you in your final predictions. I'm not sure if you've given them or not because we have talked quite extensively. I still have Canelo as a KO. Probably, I'm going to say 10.
You already heard me. I got Charlo unanimous decision. That's what I said, and you heard it here first.
Well, you're crazy. Sakura?
Man, I don't want to see Lucas, though. I don't want to see Charlo laid out like dog. I do not want to see that shit. So I hope that doesn't happen. I mean, based on their records, based on mentality, based on power, based on everything, I don't know if there'll be a knockout from either guy. But if there is, it would be Canelo with a knockout over. I mean, just if you just take the stats and the percentages from both guys, Canelo has the advantage there. Damn. I'm
Ralphie saying something similar. I said 10, he's saying 8.
Oh, so y'all see a KO for sure. I don't see a KO for sure. I guess I'm going to have to go with a split decision Canelo.
Okay.
Because you don't bet against Canelo winning on a scorecard.
That's true.
So it has to be.
Unless you're wrong.
I'm not trying to be like political right now or anything, but I mean, literally, you don't bet against Canelo when it comes to decisions. I mean, that would not be what you should do. So I have to go with split decision Canelo, however.com. If Canelo is still a little slower than and how we've been seeing him lately, then the door is open for an upset by Charlo.
We will see. Been a great show. Thank you both for coming on. Thank everybody for tuning in and commenting as well. But again, this was Tough Talk tonight. Always join us every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Check us out at heavybagboxing.com. Hope you have a good night. And we'll see you next Tuesday with the results from Canelo Charlo. Have a good night.
Thanks, everybody.